Welcome to the Satoshi Chain podcast. Today we're doing a deep dive into something that might seem a little strange now.
Okay.
Skepticism about the internet.
Yeah.
Back when it was just starting to take off.
It's funny, isn't it? Like,
Right.
with how much the internet's a part of our lives now.
Right.
To think that it wasn't always a sure thing.
Yeah, and we've got this whole stack of articles and firsthand accounts from the 90s.
Wow.
Think dial-up modems, AOL free trial CDs.
Oh, yeah.
Back then, even
yeah.
tech experts were wondering if the internet would really have staying power.
Right.
It's hard to imagine now.
And it wasn't even just about the technology, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this skepticism, it kind of reflected anxieties about how society was changing, like it was disrupting all these established norms.
Yeah, let's unpack that a bit.
Sure.
One of the things we saw over and over again was this idea that the internet was just a fad,
Right.
like a passing trend, like CB radio.
Yeah.
There's this quote from an Ethernet inventor
Oh, wow.
who, predicted this imminent collapse of the internet, said it would spectacularly fail.
Oh, wow.
I mean, did people just totally miss the mark on its potential?
Well, I think partially yes,
Yeah.
but we got to remember the context, right? I mean, the early internet, it was slow, it was clunky, it was largely text-based.
Right.
So, it's understandable that people, would have a hard time imagining,
Yeah.
that it would turn into this multimedia platform we know and use today.
So it's like trying to explain TikTok to someone who's only ever used a rotary phone.
Exactly. Their frame of reference was just so limited.
Yeah.
And then you have to add in this pervasive myth that was going around, that
Yeah.
everything worth inventing had already been invented.
Right.
And, this idea, we know it's false, but
Of course.
but it highlights this powerful cognitive bias. It's
Yeah.
called anchoring bias.
Where we just cling to what we already know.
Right.
And we just have this real struggle to really conceptualize radical change.
So instead of seeing the internet as this platform for innovation, they just sort of saw it through the lens of existing technology and thought, oh, it's just going to follow the same path.
Yeah, exactly. And that really, that limited their ability to see, what was really unique about the internet, like its potential to really connect people and information in these totally new ways.
Right. And then there's this whole other layer of concern about all this illicit activity.
Right.
People were afraid that the internet was going to become like this haven for, criminals and hackers, like this lawless digital Wild West.
It's interesting, this fear of anonymity and, and its potential for harm.
Yeah.
It's like a recurring theme, with any new communication technology, you go back and you think about the printing press.
And all the anxieties around the spread of dangerous ideas, right?
Right.
So I think it reflects a deeper kind of unease with the unknown.
Yeah.
The potential for this disruption of the social order as we know it.
Yeah, and one article even mentioned this too much free speech argument.
Oh, wow.
Which, it's still a hot button issue.
Oh, absolutely.
Today, so were people already worried about online harassment and misinformation back then.
Oh, yeah. Even in those early days,
Wow.
there were these concerns about this lack of control, right?
Yeah.
And this potential for harmful content to spread, unchecked.
Yeah.
And it really foreshadowed the challenges that we're facing right now with content moderation and online safety.
Yeah, it's really incredible how these early internet debates, they're like a mirror
It's true.
of so many of the things that we're still wrestling with.
Uh-huh.
Free speech versus censorship, the spread of misinformation, like how technology is impacting the fabric of our society.
Yeah.
It's like we're still trying to figure out how to live with this powerful tool that we've created.
I think that's a key insight,
Yeah.
Technological innovation, it often it outpaces our ability to understand like the full implications, right?
Yeah.
And the internet, it's evolved at this just astonishing rate.
It
And
really has.
I think we're still catching up. We're still trying to adapt to this new reality that it's created.
Yeah. Another criticism we came across a lot was that nobody really used the internet.
Right.
It was seen as this, niche technology, a playground for academics and tech enthusiasts.
Right.
But didn't they realize, like, its potential for mass adoption?
Well, it goes back to that anchoring bias we were talking about.
Yeah.
They were looking at the relatively small number of early adopters
Right.
and extrapolating from that. They failed to grasp like the whole concept of network effects, right?
Right.
Where the value of a network like increases exponentially as more people join.
Yeah, so it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
People believed the internet was irrelevant because not enough people were using it.
Right.
And because not enough people were using it,
Exactly.
it remained irrelevant.
It's this weird like circular thing.
It is. It is.
So it really took the development of these, user-friendly interfaces,
Right.
accessible content applications that catered to a wider audience
Right.
to really break through that barrier and unleash the internet's true potential.
Right. And of course, we can't forget about search engines.
Oh, of course not.
Like imagine trying to navigate this vastness of the internet without Google or any other search tools.
I know. It's crazy to think about, right?
It is.
I mean, search engines, they revolutionized how we access and interact with information. They made the internet searchable, navigable, and ultimately indispensable.
It's amazing to think how much of our world now revolves around this technology that so many people just dismissed
I know.
as a fad or a niche curiosity.
It's truly amazing.
It is.
And you know what? I think it's a testament to the unpredictable nature of innovation.
Yeah.
And a reminder that we should always approach new technologies with this healthy dose of curiosity and an open mind.
Yeah. Speaking of curiosity, let's dive into some firsthand accounts from these early internet pioneers.
Okay, yeah.
The people who were using email when it was considered cutting edge.
Wow.
And building websites before anyone had even heard of Google.
Yeah.
Their experiences, I think, might offer a more, nuanced perspective on the challenges and the triumphs of those early days.
Those personal stories, they often provide such valuable insights into the human side of technological change. The motivations and experiences of the individuals who really shaped the internet's early trajectory.
So let's hear what they had to say
Okay.
about navigating this new digital frontier, this world where dial-up modems screeched.
Yeah.
And websites were this jumble of text and rudimentary graphics.
It was a time of experimentation, exploration, and this sense of possibility that was both exhilarating and just uncertain.
Yeah. So last time we were talking about how people underestimated the internet.
Right.
Thinking it was a fad, a haven for criminals.
Yeah.
Just totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
But I want to kind of dig a little deeper into why that skepticism was so widespread.
Yeah.
The technology itself was a major hurdle for a lot of people.
Yeah, we take, high-speed internet for granted now. But back then, it was all dial-up modems and these excruciatingly slow download speeds.
Oh, yeah. Imagine waiting several minutes for a single image to load.
I know.
I mean,
It's
that's really inspired a lot of confidence.
No, not at all.
In a technology's future.
Right.
One of the sources mentioned this article from 1994.
Okay.
That called the internet, get this, a wasteland of unfiltered data.
Wow.
And it said that finding useful information is like trying to drink from a fire hose.
That's a pretty perfect analogy, I think.
Yeah.
For the state of the early internet,
Yeah.
It was just this vast, unstructured sea of information with no easy way to navigate it. I mean, search engines were in their infancy, so finding what you needed was a real process.
Yeah, it's funny how something we consider so fundamental to the internet now, like easy access to information, was actually a major barrier to its early adoption.
It's true. And this is where this whole concept of allegory versus algorithms comes in. The early internet was very much an allegorical experience. Like finding information was less about, precise search terms and more about navigating this web of connections, right?
Right.
Following links, kind of piecing together information from various sources.
So it was more about intuition and exploration.
Yeah.
Like deciphering a cryptic map rather than just typing in a query to Google.
Precisely. And for a lot of people, this allegorical approach.
Yeah.
It felt inefficient, it was frustrating, and ultimately just not worth the effort.
Right.
And it wasn't until, search engines emerged with their, algorithmic ability to index and rank web pages based on specific keywords that the internet truly became accessible to a mass audience.
It's amazing how, like, that one
I know.
seemingly simple innovation, the search engine,
Right.
completely transformed our relationship with the internet
Absolutely.
and made it a tool for everyday use,
Yeah.
rather than this specialized domain for tech-savvy explorers.
And the shift from allegory to algorithm, it really had profound implications, not just for how we, access information, but for how we think and understand the world around us.
Yeah, I mean, algorithms have become so ingrained in our lives now
They really have.
that we often take them for granted.
Right.
I mean, they shape the news that we see, the products we buy, even the people that we connect with online.
It's true.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, there are benefits, of course.
Oh, yeah.
To this reliance on algorithms,
Right.
Personalized experiences, efficient information retrieval, automation of complex tasks.
Right.
But, it also raises these important questions
Well,
about
yeah.
bias, about control, and the potential for, filter bubbles that limit our exposure to different perspectives.
Yeah, it's like that saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
Right.
If the algorithms are based on biased data,
Right.
they're going to perpetuate those biases.
Of course.
And I think this is one of the big challenges we face as we, navigate this increasingly algorithmic world.
Right.
We need to be aware of,
Yeah.
the limitations, the potential pitfalls of algorithms.
Okay.
And we need to develop those critical thinking skills
Yeah.
to really evaluate the information they're presenting to us.
Absolutely. Another factor that I think contributed to this skepticism was simply the fact that people didn't really know what to do with the internet.
Right.
It was this
new
undefined space.
Right.
And a lot of people they struggle to see its practical applications.
And that's common,
Right.
with emerging technologies. It takes time for people to experiment, to play around, to really kind of discover what a technology is good for.
Right.
I mean, the early internet was kind of like a blank canvas.
Yeah.
The potential was there.
Right.
But it needed people to come along and really paint the picture.
Yeah, and one of your sources actually mentions an early internet user describing their initial confusion.
Oh, wow.
And they said, I remember thinking, okay, I can send an email.
Right.
Now what?
Right.
Like,
they didn't get it?
It wasn't immediately obvious how this technology could impact their daily life.
Right. It took, the development of applications like email, chat rooms, online forums for people to start seeing okay, this is how the internet can be used for communication, for community building.
Right.
And then came e-commerce,
Right.
online banking, a whole host of other applications that really just revolutionized. Yeah.
Different aspects of our lives.
And of course, you can't forget about entertainment.
Oh, of course not.
Right. The internet has become this vast
I know, it's crazy.
repository of music, movies, TV shows, video games.
It's true.
I mean, it's completely transformed how we consume media.
It's fascinating to see how the internet has evolved from this primarily text-based platform to this multimedia powderhouse and this evolution. It's continuing,
It is.
I mean, with the emergence of VR, AR, the metaverse.
Right.
I mean, all these things that promise even more immersive, interactive online experiences.
It's mind-boggling to think about how far we've come.
I know.
From those early days of dial-up modems and clunky interfaces.
The internet's journey is it's a testament to human creativity.
Yeah.
Our ability to adapt and our pursuit of innovation. And as we move forward into this increasingly digital future.
Right. It's important to remember the lessons of the past.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've spent this whole deep dive looking at all this early skepticism around the internet.
Right.
And it's easy to kind of chuckle at those wildly inaccurate predictions now. But I think there's some really profound
Oh,
lessons we
absolutely.
learned here.
Those early criticisms, even if they were misguided,
Yeah.
I think they offer this really valuable window into how we, as humans,
Right.
perceive and adapt to these disruptive technologies.
Yeah, one of the recurring themes that we keep coming back to
Yeah.
is this tendency to just underestimate the potential
Yeah.
of new technologies,
Yeah.
particularly when they challenge familiar ways of doing things.
It's a fundamental human bias. I
Right.
mean, we tend to extrapolate from what we currently understand,
Right.
and we just fail to really grasp how a technology might evolve
Ah.
or how its uses might expand in these unforeseen ways.
Right? Like those experts who dismiss the internet as just a fad because
Exactly.
they couldn't see beyond its initial limitations.
Right. They anchored their predictions to that existing state of the technology,
Yeah.
and they neglected, this power of innovation, of human ingenuity
Right.
to drive its development.
So how do we overcome this bias?
Yeah.
How do we get better at anticipating the potential of emerging technologies?
I think one key is to cultivate what's called a growth mindset
Okay.
when it comes to technology.
Okay.
And this means embracing this willingness to learn, to adapt,
Mm.
and to challenge our own assumptions.
So instead of clinging to the familiar, we need to be more open to the possibility
Exactly.
that something new might completely transform our world,
Right.
even if we can't fully envision how right now.
Exactly. It's about, embracing uncertainty, recognizing that the future isn't just a linear extension of the present,
Right.
but it's this realm of possibilities waiting to be explored.
I like that. Another important takeaway, I think, is the power of user-generated content.
Oh, absolutely.
We talked about Wikipedia earlier,
Yeah.
but this extends far beyond encyclopedias.
Right. I mean, the internet has democratized creativity and knowledge sharing
Yeah.
in these unprecedented ways,
Yeah.
from blogs and social media to open source software and online communities. I
Yeah.
mean, people are creating, collaborating, contributing on a scale
Yeah.
that was unimaginable just a few decades ago.
It's incredible.
It is.
And I think that has profound implications
It is.
for how we think about innovation. It's no longer this
Yeah.
exclusive domain of large institutions or tech giants.
Anyone with an internet connection can
Yeah.
potentially contribute to the evolution of technology.
Right.
Whether it's, developing a new app or sharing a creative idea,
Right.
or even just participating in online discussions.
It's a really good reminder that progress often comes from these unexpected places.
Yeah.
From this collective intelligence and creativity
Right.
of individuals who are passionate about a particular topic or problem. Yeah.
And this decentralized model of innovation, I mean, it's only going to become more important as technologies like the metaverse and Web3 continue to evolve.
Right. Yeah. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge.
Okay.
The next time you encounter a new technology, a disruptive idea,
Mm-hmm.
resist that urge to just dismiss it out of hand.
Right.
Instead, I want you to ask yourself, what if they're right?
Yeah.
What if this technology, despite its current limitations,
Right.
has the potential to change the world in ways that I can't even imagine yet?
Right. Embrace that curiosity.
Yeah.
Challenge your assumptions.
Yeah.
Be open to the possibility that the future might be far more amazing than we can even comprehend right now.
I love that. And if history has taught us anything, it's that the most transformative innovations
Yes.
are often the ones that initially seem the most improbable.
That's so true.
Right.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us on this journey through the early days of internet skepticism.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We hope it's giving you some food for thought as we all continue to navigate this
Absolutely.
ever-evolving digital world,
It's an exciting time.
It is.